The K-14 gyroscopic gun sight is undoubtedly the best aircraft gun sight of World War II. It was introduced in 1944 and was used on almost every Army Air Force fighter, most famously the P-51D Mustang, as it established air supremacy over Europe. Its predecessor reflector gun sights, such as the N3 and N9, all required the pilot to mentally calculate the necessary deflection, that is, how far he needs to lead his target to ensure the bullets hit. Previous gun sights that calculated this deflection were complex and bulky affairs that were limited to bomber turrets. The K-14 solves this problem in a simple and compact way and forever changed fighter combat. Like many other US gun sights, the gyro gun sight was an improvement of a British invention. The Mark I GGS, gyro gun sight, used a gyro to project the reticle at a deflection point based on attitude and inertia of the aircraft. While certainly innovative, the sight had a major drawback. The optical component was a prismatic sight with a tiny eyepiece. Imagine being in a turning dogfight and having to lean forward and peep through a telescope the diameter of a penny, and you can see the problem. The RAF corrected this flaw with the Mark II GGS, which combined the gyro concept with reflector gun sight technology, and it was on this sight that the K-14 was derived. The gyro sight is really two reflector gun sights in one, a traditional fixed reflector sight on the left and the computing gyro sight on the right. Each of the pilot's eyes sees the respective image and superimposes them into a single image. The fixed reticle shows where the guns are pointed, and the moving gyro reticle shows where the bullets will hit. When flying straight and level, the two images are concentric, but in a turning dogfight, they diverge dramatically. While previous computing sights were large and complex, the gyro sight is remarkably simple. A mirror spins on a gyroscope and reflects a reticle image. The gyroscope spins in a magnetic field controlled by coils. The magnetic force on the field coils determines how quickly the gyro precesses back to its central position. The target range input to the sight determines the magnetic force on the coils. The range was input by the pilot either by turning the range knob on the sight, or in the case of the P-51D, by twisting the throttle handle which was connected to the range knob. Like on previous computing sights, the range was determined by entering the wingspan on the target, and then adjusting the range knob until the reticle fully enclosed the target wingtips. The pilot only needed to provide these two inputs and then fly the gyro reticle onto the target, and the bullets would hit. No wonder this sight gained the reputation as the ace maker. And here, without additional comment, is a good visual on how to size the reticle. Many variants of the gyro sight were built for use in fighter and bomber turrets. For fighters, the K-14A was the initial variant. The K-14B was a minor internal improvement, and nearly all K-14As were updated to the B variant. The K-14C was an update to the B that added a variable deflection reflector glass for use in ground attack. The gyro sight was also used in bomber turrets, which had previously used the complex and massive K-class computing sights. The gyro sight installations in turrets were a little more complex than that on fighters and required more inputs, since unlike a fighter plane, a turret's guns are rarely firing in the exact direction of travel. The gunner would set the altitude and airspeed using a control box, and the turret itself provided the elevation and azimuth changes mechanically to control boxes that converted them to electrical signals. All of these additional inputs controlled the azimuth and elevation coils that acted on the gyroscope in addition to the range coil. The Mark 18 was the Navy's version of the gyro sight for use in the turrets of all large bomber and patrol aircraft, such as the PB-4Y navalized variant of the B-24. The wingspan plate on some Mark 18s was replaced in the field with a plate listing the name of enemy aircraft likely to be encountered in that theater, which made things easier for the gunner as he no longer needed to memorize and recall the wingspans of enemy aircraft. Very late in the war, the Air Force adapted the Mark 18 for turret use as the K-15 and the K-17 for bomber top and ball turrets respectively, and these replaced the Sperry K-3 and K-4 in these roles. The K-17 is essentially an inverted K-15 for use in a ball turret, much as the K-4 was an inverted K-3. Air Force gyro sights were made by the AC Sparkplug Division of General Motors in Flint, Michigan. Mark 18s were made for the Navy by Eastman Kodak of Rochester, New York, and the Lucas Herald Corporation of Indianapolis, who was also manufacturing Norden bomb sights. The gyro sight uses two GE or Westinghouse 480 light bulbs. These are 22-volt, 12-watt bulbs with a BA9S base. The bulbs are easily accessed and changed in flight by opening the front hatch. The gyro reticle was identical on all variations of the gyro sight, but there was some variation on the fixed reticle. The standard was a 71.12 mil ring and cross, but a 101 mil semicircle with a bombing guide was often used in fighter installations. A lever on the side of the sight flipped up a mask that blocked all of the fixed reticle except the center cross, simplifying the image the pilot saw. Early fighter installations included a slide-up sunshade, but like sunshades on every other fighter gun sight that had them, these were quickly removed in service. Turret installations included a flip-up sunshade and a metal hood to protect the reflector glass. Unlike the N9 and Mark 8 sights, the gyro sight was not hermetically sealed, so labyrinths in the sight routed outside air through a silica gel pack which desiccated the air and prevented fogging. As the silica gel absorbed water, it changed from bright blue to a dull pink color. On the K-14, the pilot's face is protected from impact by a hard rubber crash pad bumper. This distinctive-looking pad has the message, "No handhold," painted on it as a reminder not to grab the sight when getting in and out of the cockpit, and on some variations that message was embossed on the rubber. The K-14 gyro gun sight made a significant impact when it was introduced to the European theater, and quickly forced inferior non-computing sights out of service. The Air Force and its pilots were very happy with it. With many external modifications over the years, the gyro sight continued to see frontline service in fighter jets in the Korean War and even into Vietnam. The simple elegance of this design perfected the aircraft gun sight to a level that would not be surpassed until the advent of the modern electronic heads-up display. Some of the resources referenced in this video can be seen here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see a gallery of all of my gun sights of this type, please stick around, and feel free to contact me with questions.